News has correspondents and writers working in many countries around the globe. For the most part, we are able to report freely. However, there have been times when conditions have been so fraught in a particular country that we have withheld a byline from a story in order to protect the reporter. This has happened most recently in reporting from a particular African country where a civil war is currently raging, and from an Asian country where journalists have been targeted by extrajudicial groups. In the Philippines, we have reported on the United Methodist Church's advocacy for the Lumads and indigenous people who have been persecuted and marginalized. Church leaders there have really put their own well-being at risk in order to provide sanctuary for the Lumads and to speak out on their behalf. And so we have been telling those stories as well. And there again, that is one of those situations where there is some degree of risk involved, especially for the people that we're reporting about. In the U.S., we've covered a number of sensitive issues, but one that comes to mind in terms of press freedom is the issue of immigration. We've had staff travel to the U.S. border to actually get the human dimension of the plight of immigrants and the reasons that they're trying to come into the country. We've also covered United Methodist leaders speaking out to challenge government policies around immigration. So this act of speaking out against government policies, as well as reporting on leaders speaking out, is not something that can be done as easily in many other countries. Looking at the United Methodist Church itself, we're obviously in a time of change, and we have really been striving to cover the story of the future of the church in a way that is comprehensive and balanced and objective, pulling in all the different voices and views so that the people of the United Methodist Church can be as well informed as possible about what is happening. Sometimes we get pushback for telling all sides of the story, but we believe that it's better to be well informed, even if it makes our audiences uncomfortable at times. One of the biggest threats that we face today is the rise of misinformation. More than at any time in history, we have so many sources that we can get information from. And so we find ourselves today in a time where people can find their sources of information that basically reinforce their own views and beliefs. So what that means is that we can be more selective about the information that we're taking in, and we don't have to listen to voices or read news stories that may challenge our previous preconceptions about what reality is. There used to be that famous line about killing the messenger. Well, now today, with the rise of misinformation, we can ignore the messenger and just live in our own echo chambers. And so it is so important that we hold fast to the value of thinking critically, getting our data from a variety of different sources, listening to voices that may challenge our preconceived notions, and that we build our foundation of understanding on solid, reliable, objective information. Otherwise, we risk doing, to borrow a phrase that Jesus used, we risk building our house on sand. So information is not only a public good, but it's a public necessity, and that is particularly true for the church.